you're kind of able to see a band just explore, a couple of guys explore music together. As we've grown older and learned more through touring and touring with specific bands, or finding out what those bands are listening to, or, just any ways that you find music, we're being influenced by that. And we haven't ever set up the guardrails of being like, no, we're this type of band.
Welcome to episode 148 of the Bass Shed podcast. My name is Ryan Roberts. What's up, folks? Welcome back to the Bass Shed podcast. And for new listeners, please make sure to hit subscribe wherever you are listening to the podcast. If you are listening to it on YouTube, please hit the little bell and hit subscribe to be notified about new content. On the episode, I'm joined by Ed Breckenridge from the band Thrice. Ed has spent more than 2 decades anchoring one of the most influential bands in modern rock music. In this episode, we'll talk about Ed's path to the bass, how physical limitations shaped a completely personal approach to the instrument, and how Thrice continues to evolve creatively after 12 studio albums. More about my conversation with Ed Breckenridge in just a second, but first, let me tell you about one of the longtime supporters of the bass community, lemurmusic.com. If you play upright bass, you probably already know Lemur Music. They've been serving the bass community for decades with a great selection of strings, accessories, sheet music, and bass gear. I was down at Lemur a few days ago. I was playing through some different bows. I brought one back to the studio to check out on my bass. It's a Dorfler. It's a really, really great bow. I'm going to do some more digging around on it. I still haven't weighed it yet. I'm just always curious about that stuff. But wonderful selections of bows down there at Lemur Music. Stop by, check out their inventory, lemurmusic.com. Use the promo code TheBassShed, all one word, for 10% off. All right, folks, I'm excited to tell you about the book I put together with bass legend Jerry Jamont. Jerry Jamont, 15 Timeless Bass Lines. Jerry Jamont, 15 Timeless Bass Lines explores 15 classic bass lines from Jamont's incredible career. The lines that help define the sound of soul and R&B recordings by artists like Aretha Franklin, King Curtis, and so many more. You can find Jerry Jamont 15 Timeless Bass Lines at thebassshedacademy.org or click on the link in the show notes below. Alright, as I mentioned, my guest on the episode is Ed Breckenridge, the bassist of the band Thrice. We start the conversation with Ed talking about how he came to the bass, how the band Thrice came together, and kind of how those things were kind of all working together at the same time. We talked about the formative years, who the bass players were, and the albums that were inspiring him at the time. Something fascinating I thought in the conversation was when Ed talks about his skateboarding injury and also talks about just some mobility limitations in his left arm and how that's impacted his bass technique, and how he kind of learned to work around that and work with that and through that. And just overall kind of health, and hand health and things that all bass players need to take into consideration. We're also going to talk about Thrice's new album titled Horizons West. This is their 12th studio album, and we're going to talk about how the band writes together and how they build mood and contrast into heavy music, along with characteristics of the music that they're really interested to have in place at all times so that the music stays exciting. I had a great time talking with Ed, and I had a great time checking out their record. There's links to the record in the show notes below, and let's get into it. Here's my conversation with Ed Breckenridge from the band Thrice.
Man, so what part of the country are you in?
I'm in Orange County.
Orange County. Oh wow, you're local.
Yeah.
I'm in Venice.
Okay. Oh shoot, I spend some time skateboarding around there every once in a while, which is not quite the best thing to do when you're a bass player. But.
That's true. Is that another pastime? Is the skateboarding?
Yeah, it's kind of been like something I did my whole life. Like I kind of got into music through. I mean, I was into music, but like the music that I ended up kind of like really diving into was like skate influenced, just like what was in the videos and what people are listening to at the time.
Right.
And then I kind of dropped it when the band was like super active and yeah, just working, like touring.
To give the listeners some perspective just on you and your history, is bass the first instrument?
No, I mean it. I started playing classical guitar. Like that was like my first. I think my brother. It's weird how it happened though, because my brother had a job like when he was like his first job, and he met a guy that was into rock music, and at the time we were listening to like R&B and hip hop stuff in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, I think he borrowed his friend from work's guitar and a Van Halen cassette. And that was, we were like, what? Yeah. And then we started kind of getting into more of that music. And then I had some sort of affinity to classical guitar, even in the like metal music that I listened to. Like I listened to Metallica, but there'd be like the classical guitar parts, and I was into that.
And there's some of the like guitar shredders of that era that were very kind of neoclassical.
Yeah.
You know, so I always feel like there was a crossover there between people that were studying classical guitar and kind of interested in that world. But there's a quick segue into the rock world around that era.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. But then I didn't really start playing bass until the band started, and a band needed me to fill in that role. And I feel so lucky because I far prefer it to anything now. Oh,
yeah.
I mean, it's understated in a way that I really like, but you also have so much control that people don't really think about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have like lined up with that had I not been
forced into it. So was it this band specifically? Was it Thrice that got you? Okay.
And this is my first band. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
And then how did that happen? How did you get involved with these guys?
Tepe, who's our guitar player, I met him through skateboarding around, and I think that there was some kind of situation where somebody brought some sort of a music playing device. I don't know what it would have been then at this point.
Like while you're out skating?
Yeah, out skating. And I was like, oh, I like that band too. Like, are you into this? And that kind of like, that's how we became friends, really. I didn't really know. I would see him around, but I didn't really know him before that. And then, we just started hanging out, and then he introduced me to the guy that's now our singer, Dustin. And they were talking about starting a band. I was like, oh, like we have similar, like I would love to play music too, but you guys are both guitar players. Do you need a bass player?
Okay. So it was your pitch. You weren't asked. You brought that to the table then.
Yeah, I feel like it was the vibe that I got was they kind of wanted me involved, if I'm remembering it correctly, that they wanted me involved, but it's like we're not going to have a band with 3 guitarists.
Right,
I mean,
right.
It's possible, but
collective soul.
Right, there you go. But my brother had also he played in bands. He was our drummer.
Okay.
I was like, oh, maybe I could borrow his bass player's bass and just like kind of mess around, and then it's
so then you're borrowing the bass and mess around. And what was kind of the moment where you're like, yeah, this is I didn't even know I was a bass player till right now, and I guess I'm a bass player.
I feel like it's a combination of a couple things. I feel like the first time we all 4 of us played together was like a huge moment. I think there was something that we did where like something about what we were playing with either shifted like double time or half time. It did like a shift, and I was like, oh, I feel this thing happening, and that was like that was kind of huge for me. But then also, just feeling like the bass split off from the guitars doing some sort of melodic thing, even if I was like, I don't know if it was like harmonizing or doing something where I was like going like an octave in the opposite direction or something. And I was like, oh, this is, the beginnings of like, oh, this is what bass can do.
Right.
Like, this is the power that it has. And,
Yeah.
and just like, yeah, I love it.
And so you get bitten by the bug, and then when you go back and you're listening to records, I'm sure it's coming alive now. The bass is coming alive on when you revisit familiar records. What were some of those records you were listening to? Were some of those bass players back in that era that were kind of like it was starting to click in a new way for you?
At that, you're saying at that time?
Yeah, like early on, and you're aware of the power and kind of. You know, because I feel like it's like this. Like if you're thinking about buying a specific car or something,
right?
Then you see the car all over the street. Like now it's on the forefront of your mind. And so with this thing, I think it happens musically too. Like you're aware of something new musically or on records or whatever it might be. And now you're hearing it more than you were.
Right.
But it was always there the whole time.
I feel like at that time, we were listening to a lot of like punk and metal stuff. So like it would have been, there's a bass player in a band, Lagwagon, that was doing a lot of cool, a punk band called Lagwagon, No Effects, those punk bands. But then really the things that I was drawn to is more like Steve Harris from Iron Maiden, Cliff Burton.
Sure, like the OG
Metallica,
metal guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the guys that were doing like kind of like the stuff that where the bass wasn't just supporting. It was super interesting to me.
Sure.
I mean, they were supporting, but it was like also
they're also bringing it to the forefront,
right?
In some new ways. Obviously, Metallica's
right.
They were doing a lot of that. And you're doing that on the new record. There's a couple tracks where there's some very bass forward things that we'll get to. So you go back and now you kind of joined the band, and do you feel like you have to play catch up on the bass?
Oh.
Like
literally everything. I feel like I've been like that the whole time. Like I'm just like doing my best to meet everybody where they're at, which is a great
it keeps you working
to be in. Yeah.
Right.
But early on it was hard. Like I've always, kind of get the imposter syndrome. I think
everybody has it to a degree.
Yeah, but I'm also on this podcast where I like look at your other guests. I'm like, oh my gosh, like coming in on and yourself. Like it's
man, I do think everybody has it to a degree. And how did you kind of initially in the beginning days of just getting the bass and feeling like you're playing catch up, where were you going to learn as much as you could? Were you watching VHSs or just studying records or Bass Player Magazine when that was still an actual printed magazine?
Yep. Bass Player Magazine, a lot of those VHS Bass Day.
Like, right, I forgot about the Bass Day. The Bass Day 98s, the Bass Day 99s. Yeah.
I remember, there were a lot of them that were like over my head, but I remember watching the Billy Sheehan one.
Oh, I remember that one. I don't remember if I saw it.
Super practical. Like, what he's doing is not super practical, but like what he was talking about was like strap length, which I don't really follow the same mindset anymore, but like
hold on let's hit pause there. How do you wear your bass like super low?
No, well, that's a whole other story. I don't. I like to like find the perfect balance for me. I feel like there are benefits to like both. I almost wish I could like switch it while I'm playing over the place. There's something about that, like when it's lower, I feel like I have more stamina for like faster picking stuff. Something about having my arm up is like a little bit more.
Like you're carrying some tension in your shoulder or neck and all that. Yeah, I get that.
Right.
Yeah.
But then playing higher on the neck is more difficult when you're way low.
Right.
But I also either was born with or had some sort of injury when I was younger where I actually can't turn this hand over flat like this.
Really? That
Yes.
rotator
And
cuff?
no, it's in my elbow. So
Really?
there's the ulnar and the radial, in your forearm, the radius, which is like a little cup that'll spin around. It has like a growth on it where it just stops. It almost like is like a kickstand. It just like stops.
Yeah, you
it.
just post up like a doorstop.
It'll just.
That's been that way your whole life?
As long as I can remember, I ended up breaking my other elbow. Skateboarding. And they did like a comparative X-ray, and they were like, "Wait, which one was the one that you were saying was the bad one?"
Mm.
And then figured out, yeah, I mean, both of them are kind of messed up. I've had nerve issues. I've had 2 ulnar nerve replaced. Like they put it in a different.
What happened? What was the accident?
The elbow breaking accident was I just fell off the back of a ramp and landed with my arm straight.
And for people only listening to the audio, the elbow that got busted in the skateboarding accident is the right elbow, and left is the one with the doorstop.
Yeah, the left is the one, which is interesting because like if you're playing your bass low and you can turn your hand over, you can actually grip the bass pretty solid. Sure. But the way that I do it, I have to like.
You have to angle the bass,
angle the bass.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I can't like actually fret.
And then what does that do to your dexterity on your left hand?
It's difficult.
Do you get like pinched nerves, or do you feel things tighten up? Because I mean, it's high energy music, and you're putting in a lot of You're bringing a lot of heat to it.
I don't really know what the alternative would feel like because I've never experienced it as far as I know. But there's always like a tension, like I'm always tense in that hand, even if I'm playing like, if I'm trying to figure out how I would explain it if people aren't watching this. Yeah, like to get the max extension for me, I'm like pointing my finger like I'm pointing at something, and then my pinky is like almost touching the palm of my hand. Like that's like the
so that's as far as it goes. So you can't open up your whole palm,
right,
and have it extended like your. So I'm pretty sure the tendon that connects the fingers 3 and 4. If I understand correctly, these are individual tendons, fingers 1 and 2, and then these ones share, so that fingers 3 and 4 like. That kind of doesn't extend all the way.
Right.
That's what you were showing. And that's always a thing. Even when you're like, if you have your palm down, where's the camera? There it is. If you have it palm down, can you extend it that way? Will your fingers extend?
Yeah.
Okay. But it isn't until you turn your kind of palm towards you.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The palm stops.
Yeah.
And then the fingers have to like figure out a way to.
Right. And then the wrist doesn't. I guess that's all connected to the wrist and the.
Right. It's pretty wild. Yeah.
So when you started playing bass, you were immediately confronted with this.
I didn't really realize it until people were pointing it out to me.
Yeah. There wasn't a moment where like, Billy Sheehan's arm doesn't look like that in the video.
Yeah,
like,
no.
How come they're playing like that and I can't physically can't make that happen?
Right. But I mean, I figured out a way to make it work.
That's great that you still, but it doesn't, there's nothing, you don't have like neck pain or back pain after a gig?
No, I've had some nerve damage. I had some like nerve damage in both my elbows, which.
More skateboarding?
No, I think it's all related to maybe to skateboarding or the past injuries or whatever I'm doing to tweak my wrist to like do this. But I hit a point where like my pinky and my ring finger were really always numb, and then with this arm I was losing muscle in my palm here. I don't want to like
No. But this
too
is
much about this.
fascinating. It's kind of fascinating because I think overall hand health and the biology of doing this instrument is, not as talked about as it should be sometimes, because you're doing all these repetitive, either micro movements when you're practicing, and
Right.
you just repetition, or if you're just like really on stage rocking out, like you're all in 110% full throttle. That's taxing on the body.
Right. And you kind of don't know, especially with like the kind of rock music that we play. There's so much adrenaline involved. I'm sure there's adrenaline in all music, but like you don't really feel things. You don't really feel things until you're done.
Yeah. And then
You're like, oh.
so after you do a gig and you're like adrenaline's up, when the adrenaline's starting to come down, do you feel aches and pains? Are you feeling a certain way? Do you feel nerve things going on in your arms and hands?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of for me, it would be kind of like just something I was working through and didn't really understand exactly where it was coming from until it became like a greater issue. Like it'd be like, why can't I play this thing like how I want to? Mm. And then I went to a doctor and they were like, like you have like, they do like a nerve conduction study where they test like the speed of like
how you respond.
Yeah. And I was like, and then I ended up getting these surgeries and it was like, like that's why I was having trouble. It wasn't just like fatigue or me getting old or arthritis or whatever. It was like literally like a part of me was not functioning.
That's crazy. But they can't do anything about the bone spur. Would it be considered a bone spur?
I'm maybe growth. Growth. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. When I had what is the surgery called? It's called the ulnar. Oh my gosh, why am I forgetting this right now? Basically what they do is they move the nerve from where your funny bone is. There's like a little groove in your elbow where your nerve goes through, and they pull it out of that and they put it on the inside of your arm, your elbow. It makes it so when you bend your elbow, it doesn't like pull the nerve tight, which will affect all sorts of places because that nerve actually kind of sloshes and slides around. But when I had that surgery, I was like, would you be able to fix this? And he's like, if I did, because you've had it like that for so long, I don't know if your body would support your elbow correctly anymore. So it might be something where I would start dislocating or doing weird things because the muscles aren't really like. Yeah.
You've already built this thing to compensate for it. Right.
Oh,
so, man, that's nuts.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah. But I mean, it's fine. I mean, Django Reinhardt.
Yeah, that's
two
right.
fingers.
That's right. It can't
I'm
be
better
done.
than that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not better than him, but I'm functioning a little better. Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna get into the new record in a minute. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the band. You joined the band by basically meeting the cats on the skate park.
Mm-hmm.
From the earlier, and this record that just came out is record 12, correct?
Yeah.
Right. Now, how would you talk to new listeners about how the band has evolved over 12 records?
You're kind of able to see a band just explore, a couple of guys explore music together. Mm-hmm. It's like as we've grown older and learned more through touring with specific bands or finding out what those bands are listening to, or, just any ways that you find music, we're being influenced by that. And we haven't ever set up the guardrails of being like, no, we're this type of band.
Right.
So we started off as a band that listened to punk rock and liked metal riffs, that was like the earliest versions of it. And then, the next record, we were like, well, I really like hardcore music. Like, let's like add some of that energy. And then it was like, oh, okay. And then we, start touring with bands that are a little bit more progressive by like and it's just like the band started expanding more and more off of that. And I don't know, we added keyboards, and then that adds this whole other dynamic. And and it's just, I don't even know really how to describe the band other than just kind of an experimental rock band at this point.
Within the band, does everybody have kind of equal creative input, or is it kind of a creative vision by one or two people that kind of cast direction for the group?
It's pretty equal creatively. I think our singer does all of the lyrics, if not, well, there have been like phrases or suggestions or things that have come in and out from like other people, but everybody writes every instrument. So like some of the bass lines aren't ones that I initially wrote, or some of the guitar parts are coming from me, or drums, or and it's cool in that way because at least the way that we've done it, there's never been like a fight for anything specifically, and we've started that way and we've continued that way because like there's so many ideas that we're always having to dump a bunch, but everybody's
like
really
discard a bunch, like leave them on the side of the street.
Yeah. It's been great in that way because everybody's influence, like you can hear songs that maybe come a little bit more from one person than another, but for the most part, like our records are just like real like collection of like four minds really working on the songs, like in a really like collective way. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get it. I think that's cool. What would you qualify as like a perspective, or I don't know if perspective is the right word, but maybe like what your input is? Like you come in with ideas more like are coming from like an old school punk thing or an old metal thing because you had spent some time listening to that. But how do your opinions creatively differ from the other members of the band?
It doesn't always come out in the final product, but I'm always trying to create like a vibe. Like, I
mean, there's a lot of mood on this new record. Like there's a lot of mood.
Yeah.
On every tune, it sets the tone right out of the gate on every tune.
Right. I mean, I would say over time it has changed.
Stuff.
Like I'm not really making a ton of like metal sounding stuff these days. I'm usually making parts that I really like experimenting with dynamics. So like, if I make something super linear, like having something that's super chunky after it, or like
okay, really bringing some contrast to
right. And then I also like stuff that feels like on stage it will feel like physically, like it'll feel good physically to play, like how to move to it.
Right.
I love bands like Fugazi. But I also love, the band Talk. Like,
okay.
It's kind of, I don't know if you've ever heard that.
I haven't heard them actually.
Oh.
I want to come back to that because I am curious about who you're listening to right now. But it's still within the realm of the band and getting into this recording. How does your live setup, how does that contrast from your studio signal change?
It's changed very recently.
Okay. Which one changed? The live rig changed?
The live.
Okay.
Yeah. Studio one's been pretty consistent for a while. Like, I've used B15. And you can see it right here. B15 and then Fender Super Bassman.
What year B15 is that? Because I know the 60s and the 70s both had kind of a different profile.
I used to know. I mean, it's the silver. It has silver face with the blue lettering. I think it's early 70s, but I could be wrong.
Okay. Like I'm not a guru on it. I just kind of picked up some of that knowledge in passing and was curious.
Yeah. I mean, it was a find at a music store in like Kansas or something, and it was. I mean, it's been on other people's records. It's the best sounding amp. Like, yeah. I mean, it makes sense because a lot of people record with it.
Sure. It's a pretty staple sound. Yeah.
Right. It's super dynamic, and it's also like handles distortions well, but then it also is really nice clean, and its natural gain is really nice.
So that's been the studio constant. Has been the B15.
Yeah.
Okay.
That, and then I usually pair it with something else that's like low end saturated, and which I would use like a super bassman for, and then just have a tone that's just like a little bit more full. I guess this is kind of like my more articulated sound would be coming through the B15.
Right. Are you also running some effects? Like you running some sub bass in there that you're blending into the dry sound? I mean, no. The lows on the record are ridiculously thick.
That's mixing. The
album is actually brilliantly mixed. It's a wonderful mix on the record. I don't know if that's someone if you did it, or if someone he's the mixer for the band and you always take the albums to him, but there's a wonderful mix on it.
I mean, I feel like it's our guitar player Tepe engineers it. Okay. We have our own studio set up, so we record ourselves. And then Scott Evans, who has mixed our last few records, he's a wizard with that stuff, and I feel like he really understands like that we don't want the modern record, like super clean, everything fixed up. Like we want to hear the noise, the amp buzzing, string noise. Like,
yeah, I felt like it was I could tell that it was a modern recording, but it wasn't a super slick vocal forward mix where everything just gets super compressed and it's down here and the vocals are right in your face. Right. There was still you could hear a lot of detail that was going on.
Right.
And the panning was fantastic, all of it.
Yeah, I'm really stoked. And he also is really generous with my bass. Which is
there's a couple tunes where it's really out
cooking.
Front.
Yeah. To the point where sometimes I'm like, is that all? Are you guys sure? Like, is that all right? But Scott is great, and Tepe does a great job capturing it all, and it's been a really good like team and process for the last couple records.
Mm-hmm. So in the studio, then it's just bass into the B15, and then mic in the cab, and then that's everything else gets handled in post. You're not running a sub octave or anything in line in real time.
Yeah, nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you play key bass?
Yes.
Okay. I thought I heard some elements of that on that album.
Yeah, there's some of the stuff on the album we can't pull off live, so we might have like a sample for a part. Mm-hmm. But there are, I think, since around 2004 or 5, I started adding. I have a Nord lead that I used for some synth stuff, which is cool. I wish I had 4 arms so I could do this, because I don't like anything that you can't see happening on stage, and I feel like so many bands are doing that all over the place now in a way it's cool to see live music happen live, you know?
Yeah, right. That's the point of it, not to go see recorded music with somebody on stage.
Right. Yeah. Even if it's like something where you have to like capture it and then it play along with it. Like there are some songs where I use like a looping pedal and I'll loop a part and then I start playing like the chord progression underneath that.
Okay. And you do that live?
Yeah.
Are you
It doesn't always work.
Okay, I was going to ask if you guys are playing to a click live to sync all those things up.
We do on most songs, but I don't hear it, so it's all off the drummer. So yeah, sometimes you have to ditch the loop.
We'll be back right after this.
All right, folks, the Woodshed Bass. The Woodshed Bass is a bass that is a collaboration between Woodcraft Guitars and the Bass Shed. The Woodshed Bass is designed for players that want a classic look, reliability, and a bass that cuts in a mix with a lot of tonal options. Whatever your genre is, whether you're playing jazz, whether you're playing funk, whether you're doing sessions, whatever it is, the Woodshed Bass is the bass for you. Stop by thebassshed.com. There will be all information and some sound clips there. I've already used it on a session. It was great. I went DI, boom. The bass was money. The bass was great. It's fun to play. It's inspiring to play and tracks well. Check it out, the Woodshed Bass. All right, folks, another piece of gear I got to tell you about is the Craft Geek Capsule Music Stand. I wish the name of the thing was as compact as the stand. The stand is actually very compact. It's very lightweight, incredibly portable, sturdy. It comes with a little light. It comes with all these little accessories that are really, it's a very thought out design. Not a bunch of little kind of janky pieces that are flimsy. You can't put a notebook on it, otherwise it's going to topple over. None of that. This is a fantastic music stand, and it's an upgrade to the rig I didn't know I needed. Click the link in the show notes below and use the promo code SHED15 to save 15%.
Excellent, sir.
So let's dig into the record. This is your 12th record. The title is Horizons West, and this is a response to the previous record titled Horizons East.
Horizons East, yeah.
What's the concept behind the thematical 2-album set?
I mean, it's a lot of it is around like what the sun is doing, you know. I think East has a lot to do with like beginnings and different like ways of thinking about things, and then West is more about like endings. And
you know what's funny about this though? I don't disagree obviously with you about those things, but like where they start counting time in time zones, you know, is in London, you know. Right. So if anything, East is the end. Like because you start in London,
it's true.
Head west, and then it finishes up you know, China, Japan, and then it would hit London again.
Right.
So like West would be first and then East, if you're thinking about it like a science nerd.
No, yeah. There's a possibility that lyrically that it might engage with that at some point, but I'm not sure but
in like just kind of whatever the term would be, and just like popular thought, like I think that those things are 100% true as far as like imagery and kind of an iconology within any art.
Yeah.
So it started there, and it's kind of ending here with this 2 set. And what is the horizon? Is there something a little bit more tangible or a very defined narrative of that?
I think Dustin our singer came up with the concept, and I think usually, almost always, his lyrics are kind of like have a hopeful stance on all this. A lot of the lyrics I feel like are centered around like unity and like, you know, when things look difficult or dark, there's, you know, there's another day, or there's like ways that we can band together to make a better place. I think on the newest record, there's a song called Holding On, which I feel like is connected with a lot of people.
That's the song we were talking about the second ago. That's
that one.
The double stops in the verse, then you get into chords, verse 2.
Yeah.
Is that the single off the album?
It's I don't know if we have a single necessarily, but it is like one of the ones that came out before the whole album dropped.
Right.
Just as like a flavor of what's what we're doing on this record. Yeah.
And then how much do the lyrics influence decisions you're making on the bass or in the writing process with the guys?
Usually the lyrics come second, but there might be like something that he decides to do melodically that I might kind of play around with when I'm playing. But for the most part, we make the song instrumentally first. He might kind of like scat over it
but just to get some kind of ideas happening. Okay.
Yeah. And then, and then whatever I can do melodically with that, I will. But on this record, West specific, East, there was a lot more interplay because we had more time.
Okay.
West, we had the ideas early, but we really didn't like nail down the last like with the songs that we were going to do until like a month or two before recording. So we kind of,
you had already set the date, like we're definitely recording here, and that's gonna light the fire to make sure that we actually get this done.
Yeah, well, it kind of I mean, this is how it usually happens. You're planning out the year or like release date, and it's like, okay, this is a release date, but this is when vinyl needs to be done. Okay, then it has to be 6 months before that, and then if we finish the record, then mastering has to be done by this time, and then it just works backwards off of that, and you're like,
okay,
oh my gosh, we have a month. You know?
Yeah, we should have started yesterday. Like, right.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay, so how long did you have to get this record done? And was the material together, or were you kind of writing in the studio while you're recording it?
We finalized the songs for the most part within that month or month and a half once we like selected the 10 songs that we're going to use.
Now you say 10, but there's 11 on the record. Are you excluding the musical interlude?
Yes.
Was that written in the studio?
That kind of came about within the process.
Okay. And so you only had the 10 because I know it's not uncommon to go into the studio with 15 or 16, hope for 11 tune album, see which ones are landing, see which ones might not fit the entire playlist or something. But you guys just went in with 10, and that was like these 10 are the record.
I think that was kind of part of the time crunch.
Okay.
Usually we have like on East, I think we had 13 or 14, 13 maybe. And we had some B-sides because of that.
Okay.
For this song, this album, there's no B-sides.
Mm-hmm. So did we ever get to the bottom of that? Is there a narrative that ties in the East and West? I mean, is it songs about unity, but the progression of time through unity? Is there? I'm always curious about I'm also curious about band names. I want to get to the band names. I always think that there's a funny story behind how bands get named. Like every band probably has a funny story.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably wouldn't be the best person to describe the connected narrative through everything. I should have it rehearsed, but I mean, mostly it's just about beginnings and endings and yeah, and
the circular nature of all that, how every ending is a beginning and vice versa. Yeah,
how we're connected and what we can do. And I do know that he wished he had more time with East because we were kind of coming up with the concept as that record was developing. But then once we hit, so we're going to do a West, he had all the touring time on East and everything up to doing West to really focus on those lyrics.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a lot to navigate when you're doing all that stuff.
Right.
What do you think are some highlights of the record? Like, what are your personal favorite highlights of the record?
My favorite one, at least to play live, probably there's the song Vesper Light.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that kind of really showcases a lot of what our band has to offer.
That one's got Vesper Light is track 10 for all the listeners. That one is cool because it's got like this riff rock element to it, but it's also kind of married with more of an indie feel. Riff rock meets Radiohead or something. It's
right.
It's a very cool tapestry of two different schools of rock and experimental rock, and
right.
I think it's a very cool tune.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of been our band's vibe for maybe the last 10 years. I don't know. Different versions of that, but I feel like the lyrics of that song are super powerful. I also feel like the thing that I like, the like big dynamic shifts are really, it's like it goes from being super heavy to being really pretty vocally. It's doing all those dynamics too. And then it's I don't know, like mix, like the guitar at one point is doing something I could almost imagine being in more of like a jazz format. Just that like riff as something that ties the whole song together.
Yeah, it brings a lot of energy.
Yeah,
brings a lot of energy. How do you guys, when putting records together, go about like keeping things high energy without repeating ideas of this is what you do when it's high energy? Like you're looking for new ways to communicate energy and keep energy up without going into the same bag of tricks.
Yeah, it's I mean, I feel like we don't have a problem with ideas as far as like riff ideas, but format is, I feel like, the hardest thing to break
just
from.
Song
it's
structure.
Like, yeah, like you'll be like, okay, the big chorus, or the big outro. But I don't know. I think kind of letting the song kind of tell the tale. If you can make it almost like cinematic in a way. Sure. And traditional format is great for that, like verse chorus bridge, chorus outro or whatever. But
now I didn't hear a lot of that on the record. And even when making notes, I didn't even know how to refer to sections, like,
oh, that's great.
If I'm just like writing it down, I'm like, I don't even know if that's actually the chorus, like,
right.
Like I don't want to be offensive or try to put the composition form into that box because it doesn't really feel like a chorus, but it's definitely this B section. Across the whole record, I was hearing forms that were a little bit more modular. So like you're just having sections that are woven together.
Yeah.
Instead of this, like, that's definitely a verse with that melody, and then you do a pre-chorus for 8 bars with a slightly different melody and chord progression, and then you're going to do this chorus that pops for another 8 bars. And it wasn't a cookie cutter form to any of the tunes, actually.
Which I love.
Yeah. Great.
I mean, anything that can make like a song more surprising, I think is. Somebody asked me, like, I was at like a dinner party or something, and they were like, "What kind of music do you like?" And I was like, like, I don't, anything that surprises me, And I feel like if you can do that with rock songs or pop songs or whatever, it's great. Like I've always really liked like verses where the second verse, like the bass line is totally different.
Yeah.
But the melody is the same, or like you do something melodically, or like you bring it down.
I think that's an underutilized approach. I know when I talk to students and stuff about playing songs as a form in any genre, actually making sure that each section has an identity and that it's really important, and don't repeat an identity. Yeah. Like if it's the verse, elaborate on the verse, like what you did with the double stops, and they came back to, if you guys call that a verse, when you guys did it again, now it's chords, like you elaborated on it.
Yeah.
So it's progressing a theme. It's a variation on a theme,
Yep.
which I think is much more interesting and compositionally sound.
Yeah. I mean, I love that about jazz music. It's like, oh, this is this player's interpretation of what's going on melodically right now. Like, that would be, it'd be really cool to do something more like that with like a rock song and be like, okay, like maybe I'm spilling the beans right now, but like it would be cool to write one of our songs, since we all write with all of our interpretations of the original idea as sections of the song, rather than it being like us composing and kind of like filling in, overlaying spots, because that's how we've always done it. It's like, somebody writes a verse, but then it's like, I'm going to change my idea within this thing, but
just to kind of take it somewhere else.
Right.
How do you do with the fact that you love the element of surprise within music? How do you go about playing the same material regularly and keep that interesting when you're captivated by the element of surprise? Those are very those are at opposition with each other. Those are opposing ideas.
It's true. I like to give myself little challenges.
Okay.
In a rock format, I feel like it's harder to maybe hear it, but like, I might play one day. I'm like, I'm going to play this like I'm Bobby Vega, or is it,
okay.
like that'll be my, like, I'm going to really like, kind of like backbeat chunk this today.
Right.
Like just ways of doing it, and then see how it feels. And then that might be how I'm going to play it for the rest of the tour, just, that, or,
so you're creating these little games for yourself to play to keep yourself interested in a way that won't derail anyone.
Just trying to land stuff how I actually feel it.
Sure.
Is like hard enough as it is.
How much spontaneity do you bring?
Bent elbow.
Yeah. How much spontaneity do you bring to the set list? Like, if you're out on the road, are you playing it down the middle every night? Are you looking for new ways to push the tune?
I think we each do our own kind of thing. Like I'm saying, like making little things or changing stuff up. But the set list, since we started working with like a sound engineer and a lighting technician and stuff like that.
Oh, so you guys are bringing a show now. It's all choreographed and you go to this light cue on that tune and you're doing that thing. Okay.
Yeah. So that's
the next level of touring.
Yeah. It's kind of locked it in a way that, we've done tours where we changed the set list up a bunch. And that's great for what it is, but really like nailing our performance feels great, even if it's 25 shows in a row or whatever we're doing.
That being said, what's the tour schedule coming up for this record, Horizon West?
We have Europe. We leave for that in a month. So we'll probably start rehearsing for that soon, and then we have a pretty busy year. We have a bunch of stuff that we can't really announce yet.
But it's all road work. Like, you guys are going to be out touring and releasing these dates as.
Yeah, it's all touring stuff. Yeah,
cool. Where in Europe?
It starts in Copenhagen. It's I'm not going to be able to name, but it's Germany, and then ends in UK. It's kind of Europe and UK.
Europe-ish.
Yeah.
Have you within different countries, have you found that the reaction from some cultures is stronger?
Yeah, 100%. Germans love the rock.
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, certain parts of the States too. It's like people react to different songs. And it's cool, like whatever we've done, our work, like it's interesting seeing like if there's like a certain area that's like really affected by like a mellower song or like people singing along, stuff like that.
Right. They gravitate towards more one part of the sound and another.
Right.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, we had a couple shows on our last tour in Canada, and those were insane. Like
really
amazing. Like
where in Canada? Like east or west in Canada?
We did both, but Montreal and Toronto were really great. Yeah.
All right. That's killer. So where can listeners find out information? Where can they be plugged in? What social media handle are you guys really active on? All of them? Or is one more than the others?
I mean, we probably are connected to the Instagram more than anything. Yeah, we're not much of the TikTok peoples.
The TikTok,
but, yeah. And then a lot of our what's going on with the band is available at thrice.net.
Okay.
If people still go to websites, but
sure, yeah, I don't know. I think it's all
and
about
then
bringing the website to them.
Right. And then our personal.
Okay, but they can find out about what the tour is, and when there's new news released. We'll all be on all those social media handles. Yeah. And the record is out now, and it came out in October of 25. When did it come out?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. The record is Horizons West. Oh, actually, I wanted to talk about one more thing related to the record.
Sure.
Track 11 is very interesting to me because it's called Unitive West. And I thought, ironically, it opened up with Eastern percussion sounds. Is that a tie-over from the last record?
No. The funny thing is the percussion sounds are from a children's park.
Really?
Yeah. So there's a park where whoever designed it made it so everything was in key, all these different things. So
that's kind of cool.
Whatever you play, like a bunch of kids are like hitting a bunch of random things just running
but there's
around.
A tonality to it.
Yeah, you just hear this like, whoa, this is like it's like some beautiful Brian Eno thing or some. Or
where's the park?
It's in Irvine.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of the park off the top of my head, but yeah, we went and recorded it at like 11 at night.
Okay.
Just so there wasn't a lot of extra noise, but we found out there's a lot of extra noise always.
Yeah,
even like whether birds or planes or motorcycles riding by
just
or
life
whatever
sounds.
Yeah.
I was just curious about that, if that was like a unifying theme that might have been carried over, because I listened to this record, but I didn't listen to the one before it, so I was curious about that.
You should.
Yeah, I'm not saying I won't. I just didn't.
Right. No, like I mean, I feel like West is like a more direct, heavier record, and East is kind of like there's a lot more like subtlety to it, and it's mellower at times. But
there's some softer moments, but then it's you hear the contrast you've been talking about. It'll be kind of an open, soundscapey, intro or first section, and then it hits. And it hits hard. Ed, thanks so much for being on the show, man.
Oh, thank you for having me.
The new record, Horizons West, is out. The band is Thrice. We never got to the name of the band. What's the story? We got to know the story.
We thought, we were having a lot of trouble coming up with a band name. It's like everything sounded stupid. Not that Thrice doesn't sound stupid also, but
really, are you not into it? It's okay.
I mean, it was a joke.
Really?
It's kind of like one of those where you're like, well, I think the legit story, I mean, what happened was we were playing video games at a friend's house, and somebody was like, I already beat that game twice. And somebody's like, I beat it thrice. And they were like, Thrice. And then it was like, wait, that kind of sounds metal. And then one of the guys was like, drawing a picture of like skulls with like a sword through it that said
Okay.
Thrice. So we're like, whoa, this is kind of funny. And then
it just became a thing.
band name.
All
and
right.
then like there have been multiple times within the band's history where we're like, can you change a band name in the middle
Yeah,
of
like
the
we're
band?
already
And
4
just like,
records in. Like, are we gonna lose everybody if we change the
Right,
band
right.
name?
but now it's just kind of like whatever, it's just a name.
Yeah, it's just what it is.
Yeah.
All right, killer, man. Thanks for being on the show, and I will have
Thank
all
you.
those links in the show notes, and everybody can check out the new record and follow your tour.
Thank you so much.
That was a really cool conversation. I really had a great time checking out that record before we did the interview. It was a really cool record with a lot of nice surprises on it, and there's a couple tracks that really stick out where the bass is a little bit extra forward. So it was interesting to listen to it as a bassist. It was engaging to listen to as just a listener. Again, the record is Horizons West, and I will have links to that in the show notes below. All right, folks, that's about all I got for this one. That wraps it up. I'll catch you on the next one in a minute.